Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 40th episode of the Priest Legacy DLC for Cultist Simulator, playing as Harold Davidson. As usual, at the start of these recording sessions, I need a minute to review the position because it's been a little while since I played the game. But if I recall correctly, we were very slowly making some progress towards, excuse me, unlocking a few more lock scars, and then I think I also had some evidence that I needed to destroy. Just taking a look right now, actually, we've got some restlessness on the table, so I suspect I'm going to need to juggle a few different threats. So yeah, let's actually we'll run through all of the different verbs and then we'll figure out the plan. So, Season of Despair is coming up. We've already got one going on, so as long as I don't generate any dread in the next 35 seconds, we'll be fine. I am summoning Ezeem. I think that was an unexpected side effect of using the restlessness. I think my original intention had been to bring up another raw prophet, but I'm not going to complain about that. We can still send the raw prophet out to destroy the evidence. And I actually have something that I can use Ezeem for. We are beginning the expedition to Voivode Citadel, so I'll read the text for that again, and we are translating a text. We've got 2 more to work with. So I need to get rid of the restlessness. That'll probably be done through a painting. I can do a summoning. In fact, I mean, there's a certain argument that maybe I want to do the summoning beforehand, but the thing is that the restlessness is not going to be around forever. Neither are the influences, of course, but I can use the raw prophet on the evidence. I can use Ezeem for other purposes. And I can paint away the restlessness and then just use whatever's left over to try and summon a raw prophet again. And then I don't think there's anything that I need to do with the dream verb right now. I think that's free. There's a couple things that I would maybe like to try and do with the dream slot in the long run, but for now, we'll just go through the stag door and call it there. In my dreams, I know the path to the stag door through the maze of the bounds. Gearby will let me pass, but the path is always a puzzle. I will need reason. And we will use... The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. Alright, and then I think I said we were going to talk about the expedition. So, Voivode Citadel. In the days of the great power of the Turks, a man of power ruled here. Over many years, he fed many thirsts until his own thirst overcame him. I have learned that both his treasures and his victims may remain in an untouched vault below the castle. The Voivode's vault will be hidden well. If the stories are true, his victims may not rest peacefully in the dark behind the Citadel's walls. So in this case, we've only got a pair of percussagants running around. This is just because this is what I had available at the time. We can throw more summons in as sort of circumstances merit, but I think I just wanted to get the expedition underway. So I think we're ready to go. I wanted to talk a little bit about strategy, but for now, let's just say we're going to try and do as many expeditions as we can. We're doing all right for funds. I'm going to deal with my immediate concerns, which deal with the Suppression Bureau and Restlessness. And then we can talk a little bit about how I'm going to get some lock scars, but that may change depending on what happens with 2 of the books that we read. I've locked this one away safely. When their screaming and raving subsides, I will subdue them properly. I forgot we were doing that with the talk verb. Okay, I can try and get rid of some reputation. Actually, come to think of it, well, I've got the staleness, so maybe a passion painting's what the doctor ordered. So I don't think this is really going to help me all that much, but let's get Clovette working on a... Oh, nuts. No, I actually wanted the raw prophet. Okay, we'll just, we'll keep Clovette idle. I wanted to use the raw prophet right away. If hunters found notoriety, they will try to use it to create or upgrade evidence. If they're meticulous, they'll always succeed. If they're erratic, they're more likely to fail. But they can occasionally create evidence even without notoriety. Okay, we've translated the work. The High Mysteries of the Innermost Chamber of Our Church Solar. The High Mysteries of the Innermost Chamber of Our Church Solar. Secret rites of the Church of the Unconquered Sun, which held power in at least 2 histories. The church chiefly worshipped the sun in splendor, the original undivided sun, but this text also includes the devotion of its aspects as the chilly winter dawn and the departing sunset, as well as the Menascate, the sun's night self. Priests of the church were all male, but rites were also included which allowed women to cross ceremonially into manhood. So this is a blunder with Clovette over here, but we can undo the damage pretty readily. Right, so many rich aromas, like a feast upon the air, but first, and mostly, blood. So, got a raw prophet here. I would normally put them in with Clovette, but I forgot that I can't. Change me harder. Now, my turn. And here's our Course of the Heart. We don't really have any sickness or anything like that to deal with right now. So again, subtle fracture would be nice to deal with for summoning, but for now I'm going to paint away the restlessness. And in this case, I am going to try and get rid of the reputation. Oh, sorry, get rid of the staleness, so we won't do a reputation-based painting. You never know, this might be a living. Should have an impact. And the expedition continues. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. I can add funds now, or I could send another follower. Now we have an idea of what we're up against. So we've got the Fretful Dead. Not all dead rest easy. These ones dislike our intrusion. We can prevail against them with edge, or they may obey one who comes in the name of Winter. So if we want, we could add our 2 Winter followers, but we've got more than enough edge to take care of them. And then finally, we've got a hidden door. They can be handled with lantern or knock, but I won't add them. I won't add it until we know that we need it. So that'll mean Neville or Enid when we actually need to face the challenge. So under normal circumstances, I would be adding Ezeem or the Raw Prophet to try and extend the life. But in this case, I have a use for Ezeem and the Raw Prophet at various times, all within the next 50 seconds or so, though. Wolf Despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. And another season of dread coming up, so I want to be a little careful about any... season of despair coming up, so I want to be careful about any dread that I generate. And I'm certain that my adversary has lodged a copy of their notes elsewhere, with their solicitor, with their superior, or even with a contact in the press. This is troubling. So if I do this, I'm going to cause problems. So we'll wait 22 seconds. I won't pay for the paint, just because this is more about removing staleness than it is doing anything else. Let's take the Subtle Rupture. I mean, there's other things I can get, but I may actually have some use for the knock here. In my sleep, I ran my fingers along the ridged edges of the stag door's scars. Our company it was that shattered it, Gearby says suddenly. Before the gods who were flesh, the mantis was forbidden to mortals. We were the first no. He begins again to weep his molten tears. I wish that we had not. I wish that I had died in the world. I've forgotten what else he said, but I remember the shape of the fissures in the stag door, and for all of today, doors will fear my touch. Alright, now, we betrayed the follower for a reason. In this case, this gives us access to the spider's door. In my dreams, I found the way to the spider's door, sometimes called the Bloody Gate, or more informally, the Wrong Door. In my dreams, I know the path through the silken stands to the spider's door. If I slake its thirst by spilling fresh blood before I sleep, it will open for me. Spider's door is always thirsty, always. The blood I have given leaks in threads and spills through the skin of the world. The door drinks it, and a moment's satisfaction swells its opening until I can pass. Actually, I think I'm going to start taking some notes of what I find behind the door, so... Dead are pale as inverse shadows. They move like cobwebs in a breeze. Almost certainly they can't stand before us. We'll send them mumbling back to the shadows of the wood. And nothing then from Clovette. So now we'll take the Raw Prophet, who's getting a bit closer to expiry than I would like. We'll get them to destroy the evidence. My scheme will most likely succeed. There's always a chance that something will go awry. Exceptional work. This is something special. It may provoke a reaction. The church's highest rites were performed in the concursum, the chamber at the mansus's heart, where the hours were known to pass. These rites include salutations to non-solar hours, the grail, the ring yew, the horned axe, and the thunderskin. So here we have the formula concursit, which is very important for us because that's a level 10 lore. This means that we are on our way to getting an additional lock scar, provided we have the required prerequisites. I think it's erudition, but I don't remember offhand, so I'm gonna have to mess around with a couple things here. So I've got some fascination. If we have a season of visions, that's going to be a problem. Now I'm going to start by talking with Ezeem. So it's always worth it to take a look at the aspects of a different card of the various cards that you run into, particularly if you haven't played the game before. I've gotten a bit accustomed to these, but it is maybe worth mentioning that because I didn't read some of the aspects, it's actually one of the reasons I struggled with some of the puzzles, which are specific to the priest. So in addition to the flavor text for Ezeem, they've got Aspect Summon. This one is not from here. Aspect Tutor. This one has knowledge of value. Aspect Phylaxian. If I speak with this one about my health, it can offer protection against disease. I've never actually tried this, so maybe I should have a chat with him about my health at some point. Aspect Grail. Hunger, Lust, the Drowning Waters. 12. Aspect Frisian Speaker. The spirit may be able to teach you Frisian if you know a related tongue. Aspect Follower. Student, Helpmeet, Defender, Champion, Dupe, Sacrifice, Companion. Aspect Thresher of Thoughts. If I speak to this one, I could offer it my reason. Aspect Edge. All conquest occurs at the edge. One who dwells there is blind and cannot be wounded. Another is strong and grows stronger. And finally, Devourer. Again, level 12. If this breaks free, it may assault you or consume your followers. Frisian, the Great Mother's Tongue. Of course, if you have enough Greek, I can guarantee that the experience of learning Frisian will be very pleasant. So, Greek it is. My Greek will serve as a foundation. I'll learn everything I can. And we'll leave the rest of it. My recent work has attracted a couple of callers. With luck, something will sell. So there's all my passion. We got some mystique, which is not necessarily what I would want, but that's life. Big question is, did we get rid of staleness? Well, we got rid of one staleness. And then the next question is, what do I want to do anything with my work verb? There's a few options here. So I could do the appointment to a quiet parish. I could try and, excuse me, I could try and earn a little bit of money that way. I could try and do another painting. Of course, what I'm really wanting to do here is reduce the staleness. And so, you know, I should wait for the passion. I can also do some of the different commissions or try and summon the raw prophet again. In this particular case, I think what my focus is going to be on is the quiet parish, because I'd actually like to generate a restlessness. Again, if you haven't done this DLC before, you have actually seen the reason why I want a restlessness, but that can be a little bit of fun for you if you happen to like sort of guessing the reasons for things. Think about why I would want that restlessness. I will definitely explain it when the time comes. But in this case here, a passionate sermon on the Centipede Testament. That's 12 moth aspect. 2 of that's coming from the Passion. And in this particular case, I might be generating an old and happy far off things. This also gives me a reason to do more actions with moth followers, although we're kind of already doing that with the raw prophet. When the dead return to us, they use what matter they can if their bodies are gone. Dust, rust, cobwebs, scraps, and tatters. Now that we have broken them, these tatters are all that remain. Okay, so we've got a Season of Ardors. That's contentment coming up. We will lose a little bit of the subtle rupture, but I'm not too worried about that. The requirements for the summoning I want to do are quite low. Okay, so I'm going to take a second here to just write out what I see behind the spider's door. Now, I don't really have much use for the imperative of appetite. I've already got the thing that I want with high grail aspect. So in this case, let's try the Mallory. Okay. So incandescence, there is actually something that I could use this for, but in this case, it was all influences, nothing too interesting for me there. So, change follows fire. Last night in the Mansis, I visited the Mallory, from whose engines and avenues one does not emerge unchanged. I watched the process of sunset, and I entered the amber joy, and the white joy, and the blue joy, and I was subjected to the enlightenment of calcination, and the forge of days touched me with her burnished fingers, and I rise from my bed with the utter knowledge that all nights must end. So if we can get more bodies, we will go back through the spider's door, but for the time being, actually I'm just thinking, if I go through the white door, there is the chance I can get a restlessness. So now I approach the white door through the bounds. Now I can press my fingers to it, feel its chill, watch it swing open. As it opens, my mouth closes, tightens, heals over like a lost deformity. Around and about me is the cobalt light of the Mansis. I await word. Well, we got what I asked for. The glory demands truth. When we are clad in lies, then it shall burn them from us. The deeper the lore, the greater the chance of exaltation. So, good news there. Not quite ready to work with what's going to come up, but we're getting there. My minion is returned. The evidence has been destroyed, and I am a little safer. Okay, so we're going to try and summon another Raw Prophet. In this case, we'll do the Sunset Rite again. So we'll take the Raw Prophet, we'll use the Subtle Fracture. And if I want, I can add something else in the invocation, but having the Subtle Fracture prevents me from needing that. So, Grail for the Raw Prophet source, and a little Moth for its Chaos Addiction. Talk-wise, let's have a chat with Clovette about cleaning up our reputation. Herodotus tells a wild story of a pharaoh who discovered the Frisian language. Who discovered the Frisian language was the first spoken by humans. He was wrong, of course. It was Vac, but everyone enjoys the story. So that's one of the things that's useful about Ezeem, and it's maybe not necessarily obvious. There are other summons. One of these summons we have met in the game, but we have not summoned them. The other one is when I have the capability of summoning, but I won't at the moment because I just have some other priorities. But this was one of the reasons why I was actually reasonably happy that I accidentally summoned Ezeem. So, our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. I could add funds now, or I could send another follower. Now, I'm going to have to add Neville or Enid at some point, but here I'm just able to preserve Ezeem. I suspect, but I don't know for sure, that I'm going to need some erudition, so I'm going to read whatever's to hand. The world is awash with printed words. Even the newspapers contain knowledge sometimes. Hidden door. There must be a door here, but without lantern or knock, we can't uncover it. Neville, if you please. We bear a great power of opening. We'll almost certainly find this hidden door. And coming up, we've got another season of suspicion, so this notoriety might be a problem. In reality, it's probably the notoriety that comes from this one that's going to be the bigger problem. Alright, a half-glimpsed wistfulness has touched me. And finally, our devotion has drawn comment. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. So that vitality is going to run by, but I'm not too worried about it. Okay, well, we didn't get the restlessness we needed, but I'm not too worried about it because I've got other you know, I've already got the restlessness that I need. So we'll take the Lodge of the Sage Knight, and we get an extra Forgotten Chronicle if I so wish. Story of a city without a gate, of a queen who was not born, of a war which was not fought. Last night, I visited the Lodge of the Sage Knight. My hostess manifested as an elegant woman with fashionably short hair and dark glasses. No, she admits, I don't need them anymore, any more than I need eyes. Allow me my sentimentalities. But you've come here for knowledge, I expect. Here's a story I heard in my Carisham days. You are welcome to it, only remember me if you come to make the pilgrimage. Alright, so just trying to make sure I don't have anything fancy I want to do with my dream slot. I don't think there is. We don't have a Season of Visions coming up, so I'm not that worried about the fascination. So what we're going to do is go back through the Stag Door. This is really just about hoarding Forbidden Epics so that I can upgrade them when the time comes. Alright, it enters the world one limb at a time, questing like a serpent, cawing like a crow, throbbing like a vein. It will cuddle close against my leg if I let it, and afterwards I will have to dispose of my shoes. So I've got really more summons than I know what to do with, but that's a nice problem to have. If it's something like a Maid in the Mirror or a Hint, I need to worry about the potential fascination or dread that emerges from that. But here, if we lose one, we lose one. However, the time has come for a special ceremony. So let's grab our health, our fervor. St. Agnes has drawn me here, where I might fulfill my potential, not merely to open doors, but to become myself a door. And we'll take the Formula Concursant. Did I read this? I don't think I did. The Concursant waits at the Lantern of the Mansus. It has been called the Chamber of Ways and also the Chamber of Endings. Its intricacies are probably beyond human comprehension, but these formula are a first approximation. My people stand before me, voices raised in song, faces upraised, aflame. There are doors that few ever see, fewer yet ever open. If I am willing to suffer the consequences, I might someday become one of those doors for my congregation to pass. Knock, and ye shall be opened. Alright, so we've got our yearning. That's why I wanted the restlessness. And it looks like we did pick up the mystique, so that was unlucky. The words contain knowledge, and now I contain it. It's a little like theft, a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. Let's work on translating some more works. So I should also add the Concursum Diaries and the Vinzant Inscriptions to the list of books that I can read. I think Forge is the higher priority, given that we already have the higher level Lantern lore. But as it is, let's translate the Morphe Codex. Lock the study door, the work begins. This is the text of the Sisterhood of the Knot, unearthed by Evan Morphe. Logistical difficulty. Oh, we missed the opportunity. Where is it? We could use more Knock or Lantern. All right, so we definitely need to pay up. So originally I would have added the raw profit here, but the expedition ends if I don't get a handle on that. So, all right, there's the Season of Suspicion. I'd say it's pretty likely the notoriety gets picked up, but again, we'll see how things turn out. No one understands us, or else they understand us too well. So this winds up being a little lucky here. I think what we will do... I'm going to try talking with Clovette again. I can't remember if I can talk about Fascination. No, so there's I'm a little worried if I need the Fascination. I don't think I do. just in case. Light leaks through the cracks. My mind is brighter than it ever was. The higher I rise, the more I see. I dreamt of the mansis behind the white door, of the great space above the orchard, the space that overlooks the bounds, the space where the vagabond once painted her river. Painted ships paced upon a painted river. I met the painted eyes of a painted captain. She saluted, and the motion was like the layered movement of clouds. The sail of the ship was amber, and the captain's eyes the green of new barley, and the river aquamarine. Now that I'm awake, I see those colors still. Alright. Let's just take a second to see what we're up against. Nothing too scary for the moment. So we're going to go back to the stag door just because I don't have any bodies for the... the spider's door. Ideally that will change, but... We can put the raw prophet in the expedition now. We bear a great power of opening. We'll almost certainly find this hidden door. We should also add the Society of the Holy Wound. Not everyone is sympathetic to our aims, but if we have problems with our reputation, our disciple can probably smooth them over. Now this is lucky, so we are going to wind up picking up... Well, actually, this notoriety... No, this might work poorly for me, actually. So this notoriety is going to get picked up, but it would actually expire before... Okay, so what I want to do here is I actually want to avoid the Society of the Holy Wound. So this can expire on its own, and hopefully we'll be able to scoop up the notoriety that comes from this expedition. Alright, we've prepared the text for study. Now, this is another case where I want to take some notes, because I don't actually remember exactly how this works. So, the Deacon reads now from the book of St. Respicius. Bronze shapes, but the heart labors. Hunger shows the red cup, and sickness the snow. The lantern knows, while moth understands, and the sword, when it comes, is its own answer. So, those are... you can actually see specifically... what gets taken, but so that vitality. Yeah. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. I didn't want to do a couple false starts to get this information again, so I figured I'd write it down. I'd write down the text here, but it's a little it's a little long, so we'll add the erudition. And so what's the logic behind this? Well, the Deacon reads now from the book of St. Respicius. Bronze shapes, but the heart labors. Hunger shows the red cup, and sickness the snow. The lantern knows, while the moth understands. And the sword, when it comes, is its own answer. So we could try putting reason in here, but it won't accept it. The reason why I thought fascination, there was an outside chance of fascination, and I would have suspected that it would be more associated with moth than anything. So that was why I tried erudition ahead of time. But just in case I missed out, obviously I got fascination from reading the lantern text. I wanted to make sure I was prepared just in case. But that was definitely me being overly cautious. And if we wind up with a season of visions, I'm just going to kick myself for being a dummy. In any case, in the vision, we enter the second chamber by the rending of the wall, and it screams like a peacock, but its blood is gold. We pass in triumphant procession from the cloudy slopes to the bright corridors of the House of the Sun, and our mouths are opened that we may bear words, although, as at all births, the youngest word is a scream. Study-wise, we will now read the Morphe Codex, in which a priestess of the Sisterhood of the Knot claims to have discerned the true meaning of the Thunderskin's birth. The writer credits the Red Grail and the Ring-Yew and the Horned Axe, the powers the Sisterhood reveres, with agreeing a final treaty between the hours of the House and the hours they displaced. The Thunderskin loved the Yew, and the Grail destroyed him, as restitution for the slaying of the Horned Axe's sisters and brothers. Okay, so what we do now, nothing then. Bring Clovette back in, and we will take Congregation has donated generously, and they haven't limited those donations to the collection plate. So this is going to be a somewhat vain effort to grab the notoriety. Faint lines in stone, a surface that yields to pressure. We found it. The hidden door moves with a grating shudder and a shower of dust. So if I want to add more bodies, I can, but there's no more summons at this point. The attention of the hours is drawn to the bloodiest wars. Afterwards, the histories are braided like hair. There's a great chamber in the manses through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly, there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. Alright, and we'll just go back through the stag door again, simply because this is what I have, this is kind of what I have the best opportunities with. I know we're going a little late, but I wanted to get the work done first. So if we can hold off the end result here for 53 seconds, we're actually in good shape. My congregation have waited all night in vigil. I am awake. My mouth has been continued into my cheek, and although it is almost healed, it will be a new agony to speak. It will heal. My speech will be renewed, but the scar will remain. Health has been permanently converted to a scar. There are always 7 marks. You will need 7 lock scars. There's always a way, though the way may be narrow. So there is something revealed in the text there. Some of you, most of you probably already know where this is going now, but for those of you who haven't figured it out yet, there is actually a reference to narrow ways elsewhere in the game, and we have encountered it, and that is a little bit of a tip in terms of how we're going to go past. So we have 3 lock scars, but we have 2 health, so that can bring us up to 5 if we were willing to have 0 health. The question is, where do we get the other 2 plus whatever else we would need to maintain our health? In any case, that is it for tonight. When I am a threshold, the scar will open at the flush of dawn. Thank you very much for watching. If you are enjoying the series and haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And then if you are somebody who's already subscribed to the channel, or if not, obviously a like would be tremendously appreciated if you enjoyed the episode. That does help me get noticed, as do the comments. And of course, the comments actually have personal sentimental value for me, because it is fun to interact with all of you. I will be back on Wednesday for the next episode. Until then, please take care, be nice to one another, and we'll see you in the next one.